Morgan.
And I'm Hadley.
We're two of the very first listeners, and we're
Still listening to Native Roots Radio.
Hey, right on. Hey, welcome back. This is Native Roots Radio. And, I just want to play with some of these bells and whistles we have here. I'm here with Misko, the producer of Native Roots Radio. And I just want to hear, all right, I'm going to say it again. I'm here with Misko, the producer here. Yes, very good buttons. Hey,
Thank you.
Misko, what a great segment with Nikki. Hard to navigate all these things that are happening. So she kind of simplified it for me. We need a person to overlook and get all the groups together and the boots on the ground, especially with what's happening with our relatives all over the Twin Cities, but all over the Turtle Island, where the homeless and houseless relatives with addiction and not with addiction, we need to help them and really step it up. And I think it was interesting too, Misko, what she said about, we really move fast on the surge, ice surge here in the Twin Cities. Let's maybe do the same thing again for our houseless relatives. So really interesting way to think about it. I was going to say perspective, but I couldn't say it. So now I'll say it. Interesting perspective.
Yeah, and I think as Native people, a lot of us have, I wouldn't say not everyone has a direct connection to, addiction or homelessness, but I know a lot of us have relatives who deal with those problems, friends, people in the community that we care about, and I think it's just important that we're all aware of what's going on and how we can help out with this situation.
Yeah, speaking of helping out, the Minneapolis Indian Center this Saturday, July 11th at 3:30 to 4:30, again at the Minneapolis Indian Center, U.S. candidate and current Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan and comedian and activist Dallas Goldtooth will be at the center on July 11th for a Native community rally to promote early voting and to ensure Native voices are heard in this election. And it's really big. Misko, I know you were young in these last couple elections, but the Native vote really, really made a difference across a lot of elections all over the country. And so I know 2 cycles ago, Misko, that organizations up north, like by Red Lake and up that area, signed 9,000 new voters and Native American new voters that never voted before. And that's a huge number, and that can really make the difference in an election.
Yeah, again, I like to always bring everything back to my own experience and talk about,
Yes.
My growing up as a young person, growing up as a young Native woman. And in my household, I've never seen people vote or even care about anything that's happening in politics. And so I don't know what it is, but I first started voting in college, and I think it's super important. I think no matter your political views, I think one thing we can all agree on is that Native voices matter in our communities. And I think just showing up, supporting tribal sovereignty, protecting our treaty rights, and making sure that our voices are represented. And that's why, I do want to invite everyone to the Indian Center on Saturday, July 11th, 3:30 to 4:30, to come in, show support to a Native representative, a Native woman.
Yeah, definitely. And it's interesting. You kind of asked why people, our Native relatives, don't vote. We have such a history with the U.S. government that it's not good for us and what they do to us. And we found out maybe in the last 10, 20 years that maybe voting does really help and representation. I've talked about Misko over the years here on Native Roots Radio that, I had a job with the tribe, a political job with the tribe, and I was really kind of in shock how Wisconsin didn't really recognize a lot of the things that Minnesota does, and that's because of our representatives that are representing us and educating other lawmakers. And I don't think I see that much in Wisconsin. So really, that's one of the things that's great. We're on Civic Media, which is all over Wisconsin, and I just want to give them a shout out because a lot of people check in and listen to our show to see what's going on in Indian country, and I think a lot of our white allies really recognize the plight that natives go through, and that's just one of them, not trusting the government, Misko.
Yeah, and the 4th of July just happened, and that is what is it, celebrating our independence from Britain as America. But as Native people, we were here long before these treaties were made. This is where our homelands are, where our origin stories come from. And again, it's important for our allies to know that. And then again, for natives to vote and get their voices heard, because oftentimes we think, oh, we're only 1%, 2% of the population, our voices don't matter. But it really does when we all, come together, go out and vote and try to have our voices heard so people understand kind of what we're going through and environmental, issues that need to be addressed.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't know, since the last census, and I think our numbers have gone up, I think people that, and especially, Native people have a history of hiding from the government. And whether it's a removal, like Ho Chunk had been removed 6 times, we had a Trail of Tears of our own, and part of the tribe ended up in Nebraska, and then a lot of people came back to the homeland in Wisconsin. So there's places to hide, and so the last census, I believe, a lot of people came out of hiding, so to speak, and were engaged in this and being double citizens of your tribe and of this country. If you don't have a table or a chair at the table, Misko, what's being served on the table. And that's why we need to, if we don't have a chair, pull up a folding chair and get involved and speak your truth. And I believe that's what we try to amplify here on Native Roots Radio.
Yeah, I really appreciate, Native Roots Radio and AM 950 and all the guests that we have on, because again, as Native people in this world, we have to live in two worlds. We have to get an education and survive, navigating the system, but also we have our own cultural and historical knowledge, the knowledge of the land, the knowledge of our language, the knowledge of our ancestors that we carry on. And so again, it's kind of hard to navigate those two things, and sometimes it's hard to even be accepted into any of those worlds, because we do have families with addiction and people who are going through their own personal problems. But again, I think we're navigating these two worlds, and I just want to invite more people to be involved in what's happening, that we can have an impact on, such as voting.
Yeah. And that's an easy one too, and they're making it easy on us. I know the federal government doesn't want it easy on us. They want to do everything they can to stop us from voting because the GOP is going to really lose. So we have to come out in numbers that are undeniable. We can't have close elections. We have to have a blue tsunami, and we really need to support people that support people and not corporations. And I think that's one of the things, the guy that's president now, the orange one, he doesn't really care about people. He's just made $2 billion for his family. That's a big, that years ago, he would have been in jail and his whole family would have been in jail, but everyone's complicit that he's gotten to work for him in the government. There is no Department of Justice. There is none of these things that have been stopgap over the year. Hey, Misko, again, I just want to remind everyone, U.S. Senate candidate and current Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, comedian, activist, Dallas Goldtooth will be at the Indian Center on the 11th from 3:30 to 4:30. Hey, thanks for chiming in, and this has been a great show, and you're a big part of it.
Yep, Gigawabaman, everyone. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you guys Saturday.
Right on. We'll be back tomorrow. This has been Native Roots Radio. Ho-wah. Let's hear it. Ho-wah.
Ho-wah.